Hey guys, welcome back to Get Smart with Rory. Once again, sort of bringing you Last Week in Science. Yesterday I released my current Last Week in Science, and I intentionally left one story out because it's kind of controversial in the dumbest sort of way. The way where the general public is going to disagree, I can already sense it, with the science behind it. There is a new state of matter called liquid glass. TLDR, people are going to say that glass is a liquid, and it's not. So, getting into the science. We have this new state of matter, which they have several molecules which they've intentionally made into kind of an oblong sphere. And it's able to form bonds in liquid state, as all liquids do. And as you cool it, of course, it's going to approach a more solid state. With various materials, including regular glass, there's not just a single melting point because it doesn't form a well-structured crystal. Regular glass is what's known as an amorphous solid. It doesn't have a detailed crystalline structure that you can look at, and as you look at it under a microscope, you can tell that it has this same pattern over and over and over again. Rather, the molecules just kind of chain together in whichever way they happen to freeze in as it cooled down. This is the same for many plastics and, to a certain degree, some metals. With plastics and glasses, you also see that they often don't have a single melting point. I can say that the melting point of water is 0 degrees centigrade at sea level, etc., but it'll always be 0 degrees centigrade, and basically all of the water will melt and freeze at that temperature. But with glass, you see some of it starting to melt a little bit warmer, some of it starting to melt a little bit colder, and it just becomes this jumbled mess, which gives it some very cool properties. But it doesn't mean that it's a liquid past its freezing point. At a certain point, all of the molecules are more or less fixed in place. So how does this relate with the liquid glass? Well, the scientists, as I said, made these sort of oblong molecules, and as you get them close to the melting point / freezing point, they start to come together in these very specific patterns where they're linked together, and because of their oblong nature, within these unit cells, they're able to move past each other still, but all of the ones of similar direction have that rotational degree fixed. They're not able to turn past each other, and in that way they kind of act like a solid. They are fixed in place, at least along one dimension, even though they're still able to slip past each other in others. And so that is the new phase of matter. But it's controversial to me, if no one else, because they decided to name it liquid glass, and there's the long-standing myth of glass being a liquid based on European windows from early glass-making days, where, hey look, the glass is thicker at the bottom, it must be because glass is a very viscous liquid and it has flowed downwards. But even if you give that, yes, all molecules in solids move a little bit and glass is more mobile than most, the amount of flow that you'd have to see for what you see within the old window panes just doesn't exist. Glass is effectively a regular solid, at least in the conventional usage of the word. The reason why old window panes are thicker on the bottom is because old people putting in the windows decided, hey, I noticed that the panes are a little bit thicker on the bottom. Let's make that uniform and just do that for everyone. Yeah, hey, that looks nicer than having some upright, some down, etc. Glass is not a liquid. Liquid glass is not a liquid. Liquid glass is its own phase of matter, which behaves like a liquid in some ways and like a solid in others, and not to be confused with an amorphous solid like glasses and plastics. This has been my TED Talk. Thank you very much. Like, subscribe, and until next time, see ya.